Welcome back to Dice to Pixels. It took us 59 episodes to finally grind out these headphones, but now we're going to grind for something new.
Like what?
Newer headphones.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I want new stuff.
Yeah.
So we're starting to talk about grinding, are we?
Yeah. So there was a World of Warcraft player that, after 2,000 tries fighting a single boss in a dungeon, finally got the mount he was after.
I want to know some details about this mount.
That's a good question. So I guess what had happened when Shadowlands, I want to say, it was from Pandaria expansion and with the Shaw of Anger, and with the Dragonflight update, it increased the chances of the drop rate of this.
Okay.
But yeah, what was the mount on here? Give me 1 second.
Oh my God! Coming to the
Just
fucking
not even prepared. Just.
So
Adrian and I would like to apologize for Sarah's unpreparedness.
Heavenly Onyx Cloud Serpent. So it was a black dragon.
Why bother? You can have good dragons. I had a gold dragon that was great,
Did you?
and it took me no effort.
Oh, is that from the
I don't even remember.
sands of
Maybe.
yeah,
I don't remember.
Caverns of Time dragon?
Maybe.
Yeah. But this is like the Chinese style dragon.
Well, fuck that.
The serpenty dragon. But
So,
yeah.
2,000 attempts.
Yep.
Was it a raid boss? Like it was a
a world boss.
World.
Oh, fuck.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say because 1 in 2,000 isn't actually that bad, but world boss.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Oh wow, it's such a dumpster fire.
Yep.
I played way too much.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm one of those people that like did a bunch of, especially who is it?
Molten Core.
No, I did not do
Blackrock Depths. Onyxia.
No.
Uh,
Burning Crusade ones to get like the Phoenix. Luckily, I got that on like my 5th run. And
I got that on my 5th run.
I had a horseshoe up my ass that time because the time before that one, I also got the rare pet that drops there too. And like I did a bunch of runs to get the Raven that used to only be druids and stuff. But yeah, I saw this article, so I was just wondering, like, because I know Chad used to do a lot of grinding for stuff.
Yeah.
With Destiny and well, you played a lot of WoW too, but like, are either one of you someone that would go so far as to redo a thing 2,000 times to get what you wanted?
Well, yes and no. So I mean, when I played Tibia,
yeah,
I definitely did things more than 2,000 times, but it wasn't to get like a single item.
Mm-hmm.
It was to get like loot to sell.
Okay.
I've never been huge on grinding, like for specific things.
Mm-hmm.
There was Diablo 3. There was some stuff that I ground for, but not anything like 2,000 attempts, I don't think. I've gotten good drops, but usually it's because I was super lucky, not because it was good. Oh, you, Chad.
Oh God, Destiny. Oh my God, between exotic weapon drops.
Still grinding for it.
Yeah, well, no, actually, no. I stopped playing Destiny. I got sick and tired of their whole seasonal structure and just how they're doing things, and it's just it wasn't fun anymore. But no, like whether it be a raid exotic, or like a random, what was the one? It was like a ship. It was this a rare ship that you could get from doing, I think, one of the Wrathborn hunts in from, oh, damn it, I can't remember. It was before Witch Queen, but you had to keep doing it over and over and over and over again, and it was just like an RNG drop. Like there was no way you could fucking just get it after doing a certain amount. And I kept doing these damn hunts over and over. And it got to a point after the third one where I was just like, fuck it, I'm not doing it anymore. Well, I kept doing it.
I was going to say, that was a lie.
Yeah, I kept doing it, and I eventually got it. I can't remember how many I did, but it took a long time. And there was some raid weapons. The Anarchy grenade launcher from oh god, I can't even remember the name of the raid, but it was from Destiny 2, where you fight like a big fallen servitor mech, and oh my freaking god, I did that raid. It becomes frustrating when you do a raid so many times and you don't get it, but then people that just hop on is like, oh, if you like playing Destiny tonight, and they jump on and it's their first raid in like forever, or their first raid and they get the gun. That used to piss me off, like just like, you can't. But I finally got that one. I had a night of luck, and I dropped that, and then we ended up doing the Last Wish raid, and there was a fusion gun in that called the 1000 Voices, which was super rare too.
Mm-hmm.
And you get it from, there was a whole bunch of treasure chests at the end of the raid, and you just pick one, and it's random. Like, and I ended up nailing that on like my third time finishing that raid. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff in Destiny that I did a hell of a lot of grinding for. Even the Division 2.
What was in Destiny 1, that rocket launcher, I think it was, that you wanted forever? And then like 2 weeks after you got it, they started selling it. Xur was selling it.
Oh, the Galahorn.
Yeah, Galahorn.
The Galahorn in Destiny 1, it was the rare drop. Like one of the only surefire ways to find it was if you went to one of the chests in the Vault of Glass raid and just opened it on all 3 of your characters each week, and you were bound to get an exotic drop, and that's where everybody was usually getting the Galahorn. And I remember I finally got it, and then 2 weeks later they decided Xur sold it, and then they nerfed the fuck out of the gun. So
But you were really damn excited when you got that too. You were like cheering into your mic.
So grinding shit, depending on what the grind's for, I don't mind it if it's worth it in the end. But I look at something like, and Destiny has been good with some of this stuff where they have these exotic quest lines. And I remember one, it was to get the Whisper or the Worm. It was a sniper rifle, and you had, I think it was Whisper or Black Spindle, one of the two. It was Destiny 1 actually, and you had to do this timed thing where you had 10 minutes to get through this stage and kill a boss to get this gun. And I remember because it's just as we started dating, yeah. And Sarah was in bed and I'm out in my TV room, and I got 2 of my buddies on the headset, and we're trying to get this done. It's like our 3rd attempt. It's late. We're tired. I'm probably pissed too, like, cause I'm pissed literally, and also too, cause I've been drinking a lot. Mm-hmm. And when we finally killed that boss, like we had seconds left and we killed the boss and we all got that gun. I flipped out. I scared the shit out of her.
Yep. Nice.
But yeah, it's grinding. Oh, fuck. It's, again, like, if it's worth it in the end, then I don't mind doing it.
It's never worth it.
No, yeah, true.
It's never worth it.
Unless, yeah. Like,
you hear that, kids? Give up on your dreams.
Don't stay in school. That's the real life grind.
Yeah, don't stay in school. Don't bother with a job or making money. None of that stuff.
Nope.
Just give up on your dreams. It's fine.
Yep.
It just sucks too when like it's a cosmetic thing. Like it has no, like if it's something that has no value to like the game, it's not going to help you progress anything. You know what I mean?
That's why like this story about this guy or girl, whoever it was, doing this mount, like that's just fucking stupid.
And I was looking a little bit further into the article, and it's this person is an achievement chaser. And they're trying to get the achievement for getting 500 mounts, which kind of makes sense, because if I was still seriously playing that, I'd probably be one of those idiots chasing that too. But I
mean, did they get anything for it?
They get an achievement.
Yeah, that's about what I thought.
Yeah. But with Destiny, wasn't there something you got? One of your shirts that you got was
it was Moments of Triumph.
Yeah, and that was because of completing the Book of Triumph or something.
Yeah. I got but I wasn't the only one that did that.
No, but I think that's kind of cool where it you finish a thing and like sure you had to pay for it, but you had the opportunity, like, and it's an exclusive item to people that completed the certain thing. Like,
yeah, it had my gamer tag on it and shit like that. So.
Yeah, I mean that definitely makes grinding less awful. Yeah, I mean, going back to my favorite game of all time, Tibia. They eventually introduced like world boss sort of things that you could get like super, super unattainable sort of drops from, very rarely. But for the 99% of the game, 99.99% of the game, and for a long time this was how it all worked. Each character, like each creature had a loot table. And they had rare drops that might only drop like 1 in 5,000, but it was per enemy, per creature. So if you kill like 20 of them in a round through a dungeon, like it racks up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I fucking hate world drops and other things that are just like unattainably. Like that's one of the many problems I have with the way that they've dealt with Diablo 4 is some of these drops are just unattainable. Like you just can't get them. And even they've said like, no, don't bother. You can't get them.
Why would you put that in to begin
it's like,
with?
what the fuck are you doing then?
Yeah, don't,
like what?
Or even put it in, but why would you put it at that low of a drop rate?
Yeah.
That's not satisfying. Like,
No.
I understand you get a dopamine hit when you get it, but it's for a digital item, and that dopamine only lasts 30 seconds. And then you're just like, well, okay, how many hours? Well, I imagine not everyone thinks this, but it's how many hours did you spend in your life doing that? Is your time worth that?
Right. Well, and that's what I mean by like, it's never worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate grinding. Like, if it's incremental grinding, I'm mostly okay with that. Like there were things in Tibia that you needed a certain number of ingredients to like manufacture. That I'm okay with to an extent because it's like, well, I'll log in, I'll get like a couple of hides and then like I can like progress towards it. And I can do it over the course of a year while I'm doing other stuff and I'm just slowly building up the resources to get there. That's fine. I don't mind that.
Yeah, I don't mind that either. I usually call that like casual grinding.
Yeah, like World of Warcraft tried that with reputation stuff, but they always kind of fucked it up where it was like grind the shit out of reputation and then also do some other stuff. It's like, no. I already spent 4 weeks grinding your fucking reputation. Can I just have my reward now, please? Yeah. But yeah, grinding is terrible.
Yeah, Destiny did that. They had it initially in Destiny 1 where you could grind like Vanguard reputation or Crucible rep, and you'd always get something when you increased the like a level of it. And then they got rid of that, and it's pretty much useless now. But it's the one kind of grinding that always seems kind of tedious, but I always enjoy doing is when I'm like playing a JRPG. I've like Octopath Traveler 2, which I'll reference again later when we talk about the other thing. But grinding to level up your characters in like a JRPG.
Sure. Well, that's sort of like incremental where it's like you play for 10 minutes, you're 10 minutes closer to whatever you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fine.
Yep.
I mean, that's the reality of leveling games. It's when it's like you can play for 6 weeks and not get any closer to like it's any sort of binary. You either get it or you don't.
Yeah.
Any sort of grinding like that is nonsense.
Yeah.
I hate that shit.
Yeah.
And then when you have the world around you basically leveling up at the same time, you're never getting more powerful, really.
Diablo 4, you suck.
And Destiny 2 was like that as well.
Yeah.
The first one, as you progress through the game, each world, like Earth was like from level 1 to, I don't know, like 10 or 12. And then you go to like the moon and it was from level this to this and whatever. To like the last area that was basically like the end, like level 40, right? And then with Destiny 2, they brought in the whole like world leveling system where everything leveled up with you. And I'm like, well, I never feel powerful.
No, what a garbage mechanic. I don't know why any
Yeah.
game company does that.
And then
It never works.
And then Diablo 4 did it.
Yeah, it never works.
Yeah.
It always feels terrible. Yeah. What about you, Sarah? You're a grinder?
I will grind. I prefer like the casual incremental grinding because at least then I spend the time doing it and being like, I'm bored of this now, whatever. Whereas with the object grinding, I guess would be a good way to refer to it. When you don't get it, it's just a letdown and you're like, well, fuck, I guess I got to do this again another time. And if it's like in a raid, you can't just reset the raid and go back in. You have to wait your entire week. And at least with incremental and casual grinding, that way at least I still feel like I'm playing the game rather than just like a side tiny little chunk of the game.
Yeah, like so World of Warcraft raids, like I did them. I played World of Warcraft a lot. They pissed me off in that, like, it wasn't just that you wouldn't get the item that you were looking for. It's that you wouldn't get anything that was even remotely useful to you.
Oh God, yeah.
Like, that was nonsense. I liked, and I've gone to this before, and I wish they had not canceled this game, or that I wish that they had open sourced what they had or something. But Wish, the game, their entire thing was that the best items in the game would come from players who played crafters in the game. So there would be, like, you could play a blacksmith in the game, and that was a viable path because the best items could only be crafted. And you couldn't get there by, doing a little bit of blacksmithing on the side.
Yeah.
You got there by being a full-time blacksmith. I like that. That's a cool idea.
Yeah, that sounds more... It kind of sounds like a simulation type game at that point.
A little bit. Yeah. And it doesn't have to go that far, but like, let me get there piecemeal. Let me partake in the journey. Yeah. If you're just gonna either hand it to me or not, then I'm just playing scratch tickets, and that's not entertaining.
Yeah, that's a perfect analogy too. Is playing scratch tickets.
Yeah, and like the dopamine's there. Yeah. People get addicted to that shit. Yeah. I get it. Yeah. I don't get addicted to that stuff, and I don't find it fun. So for me, it's a total non-starter.
Yeah.
Especially when there's a bunch of crap that you have to do beforehand. You know what I mean? Like if you have to rip through like a fucking 10 to 15 minute dungeon to kill a boss that you can like keep doing over and over again, like it's fuck. You know what I mean? I hated doing that in Destiny. I hated doing that in the Division and Division 2. But like, fuck, man, because it gets frustrating after a while, and then you just start smashing shit. Well, I never did, but
although
don't give me my fucking loot, I'll break you.
Although it was funny in WoW, sometimes me and friends like we would go into like some of the lower level dungeons and just get every creature in the entire dungeon and then just kill it all at once.
Yeah.
I mean, that's funny and fun to do that, but to have to do that several times, and over. Then it just becomes tiring.
Yeah, like I remember grinding for a handful of stuff in WoW. So one of the ones that I ground for was can't even remember what the raid was called, but I want to say it was in Tristful, and there was like the library. So it was like there was the Archmage in the library.
Yeah.
And as a top level rogue with the right gear, you could go in solo and kill him.
Yeah.
So I ground that a bunch because there was something that he dropped. I don't even remember what it was, but it was like very useful and valuable. So I ground that. But the thing that I enjoyed way more than that was Molten Core. Again, as a rogue, because I played a rogue quite a bit, you could sneak in
Mm-hmm.
and harvest the one. It was the easiest one to get to. You could sneak in and harvest the dark iron ore,
Nice.
which
Yep.
was great because I could do that throughout the week,
Mhm.
and then we could raid it later in the week. That allowed me to like slowly build up a reserve, which you could then craft.
Yeah.
Great. That I didn't mind, but like running the same bosses over and over again and spending like an hour going through a raid in the hopes that you might get the right item and that
Mhm.
nobody else needed it at the time, and it's like, fuck, this is nonsense. I hate this shit.
Doing that stuff when you're like way higher level. Like I know there was a few times I think it was Molten Core, or what was the other one that was beside Molten Core? With all the black drake.
Rock Depths.
Yes, that one. I used to run that one a lot, and I played a shaman. And I feel like shaman is probably one of the best to do that with because you can go with your spirit wolf, and you get a 10% increase in speed, and you just run around like mad. But the number of times I did that in order to get the little black dragon king, whatever pet, like it was so stupid and annoying. And
Wasn't Parthenox the back? Or no, wait, I'm thinking of fucking Elder Scrolls. What was the black dragon? Deathwing or something?
Yeah, Deathwing. Yeah, was a big daddy.
Parthenox. That's a different IP, Chad, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, come on, man. Get your shit straight.
And also, Parthenox was the good one.
He was the good dragon, yeah. It was fucking Alduin that was a bad one.
Mm-hmm.
Nerd.
Yeah, like I think JRPGs, like the good JRPGs do it right, where you get a piece of equipment and you don't need the perfect piece of equipment because you can make it better. You can like go into your sword and fight to level it up or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the right way to do it. Sure, you might get lucky and get a good drop. Fair enough. But in the meantime, you can make your shit better. Binary drops can go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
I hate them.
I wish more games did that, like the actual weapon leveling. Because there's not a lot of like game, especially like older JRPGs where it was like, oh, I got a new sword, it's like +2 better. Oh, now I have another one that's +2 better.
Yeah, well, so the games should, in my opinion, go one of two routes. One route is I can just improve my item. That's fine. I like that. The other route is you can go more like where Tibia did it, where there are better swords, but there's only like 20 swords in the whole game. So like now, of course, now there's like more than that. Yeah. But like compare, like there are also 3,000 plus level characters, so it makes sense that there's more than 20 swords. So it was like, I'll upgrade from like a fire sword to a bright blade or whatever, like whatever the progression was at the time. It's been too long. But there was sort of a natural progression. Like within this level, you probably have this. But at some point you got to the max. Yeah. And it wasn't like you couldn't improve it. You couldn't go past that. And everybody pretty much got there. I think you got to go one of those two routes. This like whole, like the way Diablo works and everything, where there's like infinite swords and infinite different like possibilities. And it's like, no, because now I can't improve it. Not really. Yeah. And I can't get the best one. I mean, theoretically, I suppose I could, but they've said like, you have more chance of being struck by lightning while winning the lottery than picking up these fucking weapons. So like that's not a thing. That's bullshit. You got to go one way or the other. You got to either let me increase it and make the best thing out of what I've got, or limit the choice so that it's like, oh, the fire sword. Yeah, sure, I've got a fire sword. Or like, there should be like a small enough collection of items that you can name them. And I think you got to go one of those ways. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah. Yeah. When you were talking about leveling up individual items, I had a thought too. I wonder, because we've talked about before how games are so much more simplified now versus when we were younger and whatnot, and how that's catering to probably a younger audience.
Simplified in terms of difficulty.
Yes. I wonder if
fucking Dark Souls didn't get that memo.
No. But I wonder if grinding in these ways can be compared the same way, because it's almost as if people are more willing to grind for a singular item that they either get or they don't get with a drop, versus thinking long term and planning, okay, I need to get 240 of these and blah 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 and blah blah blah, and then I'll like make an epic sword from this or whatever. It's like, well, it's like attention spans, like they can't think long term to make something. I wonder if that's kind of the psychology behind it at all.
Yeah, I think you're probably onto something with that.
Mhm.
I also think that a lot of the drop rates that people work with in these games, if you converted it to get these materials, most people would vomit when they saw the list.
Yeah.
Like if you've got something that takes 2,000 runs of a world boss to get,
Mhm.
the comparable list of ingredients is you're just gonna look at it and you're like, fuck that. I'm not doing that.
And that's kind of the point too I'm making. It's like people will see that and see it as, oh, I'm not going to do that. Whereas you either get it or you don't. It doesn't seem to bother people the same way, and they'll spend the same amount of time.
Right. I totally agree. I think
Mhm.
you're right in that people won't think long term, and they also don't want to be like told how long it's going to take.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, I shouldn't waste 2 months of my life on this, but I
But I'm
will if
going
you
to.
don't tell me that
Yes.
it'll take that. But the other half of that is because difficulty has been taken out of these games, because you can't fail these
Mhm.
games, then to keep people around, they have to do something else. Like it used to be like with Super Mario. You played for a week straight because that's how long it fucking took you to beat the game. Now it's like, well, you can beat the game. Well, Diablo 4 being the exception because it takes 5 years to get to level 100, but whatever. You can beat the game quickly,
Mhm.
but then you have to do the grind because the grind is the game. And they do that because they can't keep your attention with the actual game because it's too fucking easy. And I think that's where the danger comes in, where it's like, well, yeah, we know our game sucks and we're just going to fill it with lotteries. And we're going to hide the fact that it's lotteries as best we can.
Mhm.
And we know it's going to take you 5 years to get this item, but you're going to do it. It's fine. Like that's a thing. I don't like it, which is again why I go back to things like Tibia. It's like Tibia, there was no level caps. So
Yeah.
you logged in. If you spent a day or a week or a year grinding for some item, which you would never realistically do because it didn't really work that way, at least back in the day, it didn't matter because you were getting levels the whole time. You were
Mhm.
still stronger when you finished than when you started. So it was like the items were binary drops, but like the experience wasn't. You were
Yeah.
still getting better.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's a lot of the reason why more modern games are turning off more. I shouldn't say more people because like there are lots of games that are as popular as any game has
Mhm.
ever been,
Mhm.
but more of the actual gamers, more people that really like games, in my experience, are starting to turn towards board games and deeper games.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I don't want to just grind for equipment. I don't want to like watch 6 movies back to back. I'd like to actually play a fucking game.
Mhm.
That would be lovely.
Mhm. Well, and the thing is, I don't know why this didn't pop into my head until now, but like the number of farming type games like Stardew Valley,
Yeah.
that's just a different type of grind.
It's
Whereas
progress.
it's a progression grind, and games like that are wildly popular
Yeah.
because of the number of game type clones that are in just like same thing, just different skin on them.
And I mean, Minecraft is the ultimate representation of that,
Mhm.
where it's like, we didn't even give you a game to start with.
No.
We just gave you a way to measure progress.
Mm.
Here's a world that you can adjust.
Yep.
Everything you do adjusts the world. Go. And it became the best-selling game of all time because at the end of the day, what people really want when they play a game is a sense of progress.
Yes.
Which technically grinding gets you eventually,
Yeah.
but it's bullshit.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. Well, Shall we move on here?
Yeah.
we should talk about
Actually, they can kind of tie in together a
little
little
bit.
bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my
So when you're grinding something,
god. I make a lot of noise.
or you wear headphones that make noise into your ears.
And then I have to yell so that you can hear me.
Yeah.
I wear soundproof earphones and then also have a mic so I can hear myself in my.
Is that what this is?
That's what this is. Yeah. Yeah, they can't hear themselves. They just hear me. I want everybody hearing me. Damn it.
Yeah, so I am a big reader. I subscribe to the Book Riot daily email thing, and I don't know, one of their recent emails, it was a list of video game and audiobook pairings. And that was actually a pairing I hadn't really considered before because I don't listen to that many audiobooks. I'm more podcast listener and audio drama. And usually I do the opposite where I am listening to video game soundtracks while reading. But this one obviously was about playing chill video games and listening to audiobooks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is there any like pairings that you could what?
Stardew Valley and the Lord of the Rings.
I know, I thought that was a bit of an odd pairing.
Wow, that
a little bit.
Fuck,
Yeah.
that makes farming epic.
Right?
Jesus.
That's a slightly odd pairing, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So I'll read off some of these other pairings that are on here then.
Okay, I cannot pronounce this first one. So, Unpacking and the Inheritance of Arquadea Divina.
Sure.
Okay. I
I
already
don't
said
know
that one.
either of those.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
A Short Hike was just released on Game Pass. They have this one, Short Hike in Untethered Sky. Untethered Skies by Fonda Lee is the story of a rook trainer, and it's a bird story.
Bird book. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Abzu and the Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi.
It's about a girl pirate. It's on my
That's
to read
the
list.
book, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, Limbo and Coraline.
Which I mean, yeah,
Sure.
creepy kid stories.
Sure.
Inside and It. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
appropriate.
that sounds cool. Flower and Annihilation.
Yeah, I think they only paired that too because Annihilation is about it. It's a weird pairing to me because Flower is very pretty, flowy game where you're controlling flower petals flying around. Annihilation is a dystopian book about plants taking over the world.
That makes
sounds
sense
fun.
because you're just playing as like
Yeah, I personally would not have paired those two.
This almost strikes me as an AI, like an LLM wrote this art pairing.
Very likely. Who
It
knows?
was like, oh, these
Yeah.
two themes are similar. You obviously read these.
well, let's go see if the
So-
if the writer's name begins with A and their last name is Mara Franzen.
I have occasionally listened to audiobooks while I'm playing games,
Mhm.
but yeah, I mean, if I'm doing something like that, I go the exact opposite route where I'm like, if I'm playing a space game, I'm not listening to an audiobook that has to do with space
Really?
because I don't want the two to overlap.
Mm.
I want them to be different. But I'm fucking weird because I will also read a book while listening to a different audiobook.
Yeah, that's weird.
Which is like, if your reaction is like, how the fuck do you do that? I don't know, but I can, and I do sometimes.
ADHD is a hell of a thing.
Yeah, the weirdest one is when you're doing a trilogy and you're reading the second book while listening to the first book because you have to assemble what happened after the fact. Very strange. I don't know how I do it, but I have done it, and it's great time saver.
Okay. No, thank you.
Yeah, no, Danielle doesn't like it either. But no, I keep them separate. Now, I'll let you. You will have answers to this. What do you do with audiobooks and games?
So I don't actually listen to a whole lot of audiobooks, but
Oh, goddamn! All right, we're leaving.
but I do listen to a fuck ton of audio drama podcasts.
Okay, that counts.
So I find I lean more towards horror and sci-fi in those areas. So with what is it? Deep Space Shipbreaker or whatever it's called.
Hard Space
Hard
Shipbreaker.
Space.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard Space Shipbreaker. Shitbreaker, not shipbreaker. No.
Holy fuck.
I work in a toilet. No, that one, I find that something like that where you're just kind of chilling, zoning out, and like Power Wash Simulator, fantastic for that sort of stuff because you can just kind of like space out and it's almost like meditation and playing the game,
Sure.
but you can still like pay attention to what's happening in whatever you're listening to. But I think sometimes it's hard to tell ahead of time unless you know what the game is kind of about because Firewatch is on Game Pass now and I started that last night and I thought it was one that I was going to be able to listen to stuff with. Totally not. No.
It's not what it looks like on the tin.
No, I thought it like I was just like, oh, I know this is just kind of a walking simulator. You're watching for fires. No, there's an entire fucking mystery story going on here, and like it's interesting, but like you need to know your games going in beforehand. So like, when they're talking about Stardew Valley and Abzu and that sort of stuff, and I think what's that other water game that I've played that I can never remember the name of when I need it?
Sea of Solitude.
No,
Subnautica.
Subnautica is another one where you could do that, but then there are also games like that, like Subnautica, where there are leviathans in there, so like shit can happen and things can set on fire and it can fuck you up, so you stop paying attention. So I don't know. I find something like that it's hard to pair things properly.
Yeah, no, I get that. So Moby Dick and Subnautica then is what you're saying.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't usually, I think I'm right in saying I don't usually play games while I listen to audiobooks. But what I do is when if I get a new game that I'm excited about, which is rare. I actually, for someone who's like part of a game podcast and everything, I hate most games. It's a thing. I'm a grumpy bastard.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't hate them. I just don't love them. If I get a game that I'm excited about, I will grab a CD, like an album that I've never listened to, and I will listen to it on repeat. Because then you form an extremely tight memory chain between that music and the game so that you will always remember it.
Yeah.
It's a great memory trick in general, but it's great for if you think you're going to really enjoy something, if you really think you're going to enjoy a new game, do this. And you will, every time you hear that song for the rest of the time, you'll remember not just the game, but the actual experience of first trying the game. And it's awesome. The catch is, if you hate the game, you may accidentally commit that to memory too. And then if you like the album but hate the game, you're in a bit of trouble.
So what did you listen to with Kerbal Space Program?
Actually, Kerbal Space Program, I always just listen to its own. It has amazingly fantastic, like chill background music that I always like. Sometimes I would listen to my own music, but I didn't do that with Kerbal Space Program because when it first released, it wasn't really a game, so I didn't really think anything of it. It was cool. It was a little space simulator, but it's okay. I will always remember. I don't need any goddamn Kerbal Space Program is so good.
It's funny that you brought up listening to full length albums while playing a game because I did that when you two were in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Metroid Dread had just been released. But also to a band that Sarah and I really like called 12 Foot Ninja. Their last album Vengeance came out. So I had that playing on repeat while I was playing Metroid Dread. Now, I love the album. The music was great. Metroid Dread was kind of, I had a love-hate relationship for it because there was so many times where I'd be lost in the music and just like, oh God, this is so good. And then they had these stealth sections where you had to kind of sneak around these fucking enemies that were just a pain in the ass. And it was like, at those moments where I'm like, damn it, I can pause my music because I got to listen for when this little bastard's running where he's walking and all this crap. But thankfully when I listen to 12 Foot Ninja album now, it doesn't bring back the
really?
No, because I'm
interesting.
I got plenty mad at this game.
Oh, I remember
plenty.
that.
Okay, well that might break it, but
Yeah.
I think Sarah had called me video called from Wisconsin, and I was talking, and I was just saying like, God, fucking Metroid Dread's pissing me the fuck off. But
yeah, I don't know. I don't really pair music or audiobooks with games unless I'm doing it very intentionally to like create a memory cue. I'll just sort of go with whatever I've got, with the exception that obviously things like Stream Beats, where it's non-lyrical, like that's great for any game that you need concentration. Anything non-lyrical is good. Yeah.
There's been a lot of game soundtracks that go quite well with like reading books.
Yes.
I'm gonna bring up Octopath Traveler 1 and 2 because the soundtracks in those games are fucking amazing. If you're reading like a fantasy novel or a fantasy novel series and you have any one of those two soundtracks going, it just fucking fits the theme like so well.
Yeah, I know a few people who use like Sirenscape and stuff for that. They'll either when they're reading or playing a game, they'll like have it as a backing track.
Yeah. I have an entire playlist I've created on Spotify that like 98% of the music on it is just from video game soundtracks, and there's a lot of Octopath Traveler, there's a lot of Skyrim on it. Like just they create such great atmosphere. Like it's great background noise that can just fall into the background, you don't pay attention to it, but when it pairs up so perfectly to what's going on in your story, just fantastic. It's so good.
Yeah, I'm surprised more games don't have, and I guess a lot of games just aren't moddable, but I'm surprised more games don't have mods that like hook into, you know, Spotify and like Sirenscape or whatever and provide that sort of clue and to the playlist and cue them up correctly, because it can really elevate a game to have that sort of really good. I don't think about game soundtracks in general unless they're phenomenal, and then I'm like, oh goddamn, which is one of the things like Kerbal Space Program does really well. The music is very casual and very simple, but it's also very like sort of appropriate for the dead of space, and like it, you take off and you know the music is one thing, and by the time you done with the roar of your engines and you're in space, you're in this like nice floaty casual music, and it's like it works. It makes a big difference. It adds a lot. So
I don't even know the exact style, and I want to know because I find that I love this style, but like with Shipbreaker again, that one has a really good soundtrack too. It's like country western twangy type thing. There's a few songs with Red Dead Redemption that are like that, and the soundtrack for Bastion is like that. They're great. I don't know what that specific
like fusion.
Yeah, I don't know what that specific genre would be called.
Hillbilly fusion.
Well, it's a fusion. It's fusion. It's just not. I just put it, classify it as fusion.
Yeah,
when you take two different styles and fusion.
Yeah, it's just there's just, I don't know, the psychology between pairing styles of music with the game that you're playing is really, I find, interesting. It's kind of interesting wondering if what we've created over time has influenced how soundtracks are developed now. Like we associate this particular style of music with this particular setting, so now our brains automatically expect that. So if someone puts a different type of music in there, if that makes it disagreeable or not.
I mean, there are definitely specific scenarios that I can think of for that, like Western style, like Red Dead Redemption. It would be very weird if you put like
hip hop,
hip hop or death metal or something. But I don't think every genre of music has that. Like I think there are definitely elements that have sort of evolved in that way and become intertwined, and probably because like correlation or causation, not just correlation.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's universal. I don't think everything has a match, so to speak.
No.
But there are definitely some that do. Like
Yeah.
if I was playing even like the game that I was playing that I can't think of the name of. I think it's just called Far, maybe. The one where you like repair your little desert stumbler. Yeah.
Mhm.
If anything but something western-y country came on, like it just sort of has like the casual floaty soundtrack, and that's fine. But if like for actual music, if anything other than like sort of country, slower country came on, I'd be like, that is so fucking out of place here.
And see, I would like to play that game eventually, but I look at that game and I would expect like a lo-fi sci-fi.
That's
hip-hop.
basically what it has, and like, well, not so much on the hip hop, the lo-fi sci-fi, more or less. And that's fine. Like it's a very slow track. It's very lo-fi. It's very sort of nebulous, and that's fine. But in terms of like mainstream music, the isolation and everything else, it would have to be. It couldn't be anything but country.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be country either. It should be what they have. They paired it well. But anything else that came on, like I could stomach that if like Wagon Wheel, well, that's too fast. But like something like that came on, I'd be like, okay, country roads, that'd be about right.
Yeah.
Rock, I'd be like, what the fuck is this? This is nonsense. So yeah, there's definitely some of that, and I think it's definitely. I mean, I think there are honestly entire genres. Like I think techno largely came about because of video games.
Yeah.
I don't think it would exist if it weren't for.
No. There's actually entire bands too that have developed their sound around like old 8-bit music as well, which is really neat. Like I like how that has influenced people so much that is just what their musical styles are.
That's because a lot of those 8-bit tunes from the NES days are still like they're so like everybody knows the Super Mario theme. Like The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
You know, like just those iconic kind of 8-bit tunes that's grown and evolved into
for sure
what they're known now. So Mega Man.
Oh my God. I've never played that, and you've gotten that in my head.
You know, it's funny because like there are games like Mega Man that if you say it, it doesn't necessarily immediately come to mind, but as soon as I can either like internally play a couple of notes or if I hear even just, it's like, oh yeah, Mega Man.
Yeah.
Zelda, same thing. Like I can't think of the Zelda soundtrack, but if I hear a note of it, I'd be like, oh yeah, like instantly.
It's like that first note. Dun.
Yeah. That's it. That's the whole thing. No, but like even that is like, I remember it. Like it's in there.
That's how a conversation started when I went up with my brother for my brother's weekend. We were talking about shit, and then my little brother's phone went off, and it was a Mega Man song. And we were just like, oh, Mega Man 2, Dr. Wily stage, yeah.
Right? Yeah, no, I mean, old video games were so much better in so many ways. They're not as good in other ways. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not a total fucking curmudgeon and don't like anything new. It's just like there were so many things that were right in the past that have just gotten lost.
Yeah.
And honestly, soundtracks is a big part of it. Like I've talked about this a little bit before, where it's like old games, the music in old games always matched. There was never wrong. And in new games, it's like, it's okay. It's okay.
And that's why I've said it before, and I will say it again, and I will probably say it again at episode 65 and 72 and 84 and what on. The Messenger has an amazing soundtrack that fits that game to a frickin' T.
I still have to play it.
It is even, I'm telling you now, you have to play that.
I mean, you told me it was the perfect game. So
in my opinion, yes.
So I do have to play it. But
yeah.
Your homework for this week.
Yeah, I could probably work on that. Except I already have homework that I didn't do from before.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm being really bad at being, you know, unemployed and having nothing to do.
Well, we're gonna be in London.
Yeah, you guys are gone next week.
Yeah.
So you're watching this while they're gone.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we just want to congratulate you, Jim, and your now wife, Tiff. Congratulations. We were there. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Actually, we'd be there right now.
Well, yeah, we'd be just waking up.
I remember it like it's happening right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it happened.
Oh.
It already happened, and we're just waking up. But yeah, it was great times were had by all.
Right, yeah.
Because it's Saturday at noon.
Yes.
Yeah, no, and they're getting married.
All right.
They're getting married on Friday. But anyway.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Jim, Tiff. Here's to many, many more years of marriage together.
And congratulations to you, Rebecca, for your recent engagement. That'll mean something to somebody someday.
It will.
I think we'll say goodbye. Thank you for hanging out.
Let us know some of your favorite game soundtracks. I'm always down for some more noise.
Yeah, I'd be interested in hearing sort of favorite game soundtracks. I'd love to hear
Pairings.
Yeah, pairing. If anybody's like, yes. Let me know if you're able to listen to one book and read another one. I think that's just me, but let me know if you can.
Yeah.
Just form a very exclusive club.
Yeah, there's like 3 of us, and it's all we do is just sit there and we don't interact because we're busy reading. But
or you're reading a book while listening to a book while somebody else is reading a book to you.
That's right. Yeah. If you read a book to me and I read a book to you and we both listen to other books, it won't work at all. So it'll be perfect.
In my head.
Or that's how you read a trilogy.
Yeah. I haven't tried 3 at once. I think that's impossible.
And in my head, all I'd hear is
drop us a like, subscribe if you're into it. By the time this airs, there might be some news on the dice trays and stuff because this will be 2 weeks from now.
Mm-hmm.
So check the comments because if there's an update, I'll post it in there. And we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks so much.
Toodle and lose.
Yay.
Ciao.